Hello, and welcome back to VFX Tutors. As you know, I'm Josh, and I'm not going to do a video intro because my hay fever is absolutely awful at the moment, and my eyes are red, itchy, my nose is dribbling, and I look real bad. Hit a comment if you suffer from hay fever as well. Always like to hear about that. But anyway, so I've not posted in a while. Sorry about that. I've just been really busy with work and not been too well with hay fever, but I can't wait any longer, so I'm just gonna do these videos, and sorry if I sneeze in between. So our last one, we started doing some layout, post-viz and in blocking sort of thing. It all still comes under sort of layout and post-viz, so it's like another branch off from that. So post-viz is similar to previs, but obviously post is after you've got plates, so this is more akin to being post-viz, whereas if it was pre-viz, we wouldn't have any plates or anything. It'd all be quickly bashed together in CG to sort of get the idea. So I'll just go through and see what I've done. So it's hard to sort of explain what I've done already, but I'll just play through this if I'm not sure if you can actually hear it. So I've just gone through and done the sort of post-viz / anim blocking that we're kind of doing, but this is kind of more figuring out the timing. So the first shots, so I'll just play through it and just make sure it's not blasting loud, and you'll sort of see where we're at. Cool. So I haven't done any more than that because I think these first ones can be sort of post-viz, pre-viz, layout / post-viz, because they're not huge amounts of animation work. So I'll just go through what I've done. So basically, in the first shots, there's only bubbles in the background, so there's not a huge amount to do, but we need, let's see if I get this right. Cool. So you can see those bubbles in the background. It's not very high res. Well, let's go back to 75. Nope, let's go. Just so you can see them, and so you can see that sort of these red sort of cylinders indicate the bubbles. And when we get through to doing more assets and stuff like that, we'll do our bubble shader, and we can apply that to that, and we pretty much won't have to do much to it. I haven't spent a huge amount of time on this, but I probably will refine it further on. But at the moment, you can sort of see the guys just sat there. Let's turn the sound off now. And you can see in the background, there's just like a couple bubbles floating in the background. And I'm not the best animator, so I'm sure you guys can do way better anyway. But yeah, they're only bubbles, and I'm probably sure they're not the best bubble animations, but always use reference. So you can see the bubbles floating along in the next shot. And because we've set up our layout to the same geometry, same scene, most of this animation is actually already done from the first shot. So these 4 bubbles here were already complete from the first shot, apart from these 2, which I've slightly made them a little bit different to work with the shot better. Sorry, that one up, these 2, yeah. So we've still got the bubbles floating through. And the same again, because we've used the same set, a lot of this is reuse of animation, so it saves us a lot of time, apart from some sort of bubbles being moved around to fit the shot a little bit better. Let's go through the same thing, the bubbles here, and pretty much he's seeing the bubbles and he doesn't know what's going on. And you can interpret the good thing of the whole idea behind this. So you can interpret. There's no set way. Like, I'm not directing this. This is not how you have to do it. What would be great to see is how you interpret what's going on in this shot. So you can be as creative as you want. There could be anything happening. There could be bugs or whatever, birds flying around, or bats, or anything. The idea is to have fun with it. So you can sort of see in all sorts of shots, the bubbles, like sort of disappearing as we get through. There's only one left on the far left. This is the first shot where we actually get a little sneak of possibly what might be causing these bubbles. And you can see the top of the little booble character here. And you can see a top quality animation of possibly something running around. Really, I'm not very good at animating. So I'll probably have to spend quite a long time making this look a little bit nicer. But this is the first time we sort of get the idea. There's something behind there creating these bubbles. And as this guy's looking over to see what the hell's going on, the little character's running around without him knowing. He's looking over and he's seeing that there's nothing there. I was thinking about we could add some bubbles here, but I would think they're probably we can think about maybe we'll add some maybe like I don't know. For now I thought that should be fine because all the bubbles are quite high. But like I say, if you're doing something different or whatever you're doing, it might be useful for you. And you can also see that I'm actually using in this here, I've not explained this, this is my edit ref file. So I've got my original edit here of my EXRs, the first one I've done. I've just turned them off for speed, and then this one here is actually my edit ref. So between the things I'm adding on. So these are my play blasts that I've done, and this is my edit ref, just for speed, so it's easier to cut through. So it's a little bit jumpy sometimes because the play blast will have the overscan. So we've got that. And then this next one, let's go back to full screen. He's wondering what's going on. He just noticed. Oh, I'm not sure if this story tells too well, but that's kind of how I imagined it. But probably with a lot more animation refinement, it might help. He's not noticed, but now he's and now the booble character is now next to him, looking down, trying to see what our guy's looking at, wondering what he's looking at without realizing he's looking at the bubbles. Kind of a sort of cute naivety sort of thing. Then he looks up and he realizes, oh, hello. Almost like a little kid, I guess. And I kind of left this one as layout post-viz because we only see the head, and a lot of the other stuff we put them in, we're only adding very minor animation in it. So in the next one, we'll see most of his body leant up here, looking over. And this is where in this one we will do layout sort of anim blocking. So it's kind of more anim blocking, but you still probably want to do it for layout, creative layout as well, to find out timings and stuff. So in this tutorial, I know I've been going on for like almost 10 minutes already talking about this. Just going through the edit graph and stuff. So just play through that time. The bubbles. They're quite slow. It's quite windy. He's sneaking around. There's nothing there. He's right next to me. So in this tutorial, we'll just do the layout, the creative layout, sort of anim blocking for this shot. So it should be a fairly simple shot, but you'll see how awful at animating I am. So I'm just going to go to Maya, or whatever software that you've opened up, or you've done this in. So I've set mine up with references and done everything else before. So hopefully you're at this stage where you can just load in all your stuff quite easily. And I'll go on about preparation and planning quite a lot, but it all comes down to this. So yeah, I need to do this shot. So what was that? That was B08. So I'm just going to go create reference. B08. I've already started in there, but I'm going to go to my layout. And I've got my layout, and I'm going to reference that in. So now I go to my perspective cameras, and I've got my camera. Although I have to set my, I forgot to set the timer, but I can just grab my edit ref details. So I've still got this from the start. So it's got my frame ranges, basically my cut range and my edit range. So this is why it's useful to keep all this sort of stuff. So now I know that my Delivery range is only 152. But I have... Oh, no, maybe I got that the wrong way. Pick the wrong one. Maybe it was 105. Whoops. I think I picked the wrong one there. It's alright. But yeah, still have that frame range. Got our cameras, our match move cameras, our footage, geo. We got everything basically we need. The next thing we need is our character. So I'm going to create reference. I'm going to go to my look dev folder. That's a little bit messy in there. And I won't pick the number 2 because that's the one I need to delete, because that's the one in the example of I use for references. Also notice I've got something in my namespace that I need to remove as well. Cool, so I'm just going to reference that in. It might take a little bit of time to load in, but now we have our character. So I'm just going to go to perspective. And now, let's hide our handles. And I'm just going to put my, select my layout. Oh, it's already in a layer. Cool. Just hide my point group, didn't need that. Cool. So you might have rigged this a little bit better than I have. My rig is extremely simple. It's not great. You can almost do only the basics with it. So I'm just grabbing my main control. Usually you don't, some rigs are sort of set up differently. This is set up not very well, but it's enough for what I need to do with it. So what I'm doing now is just going there, and I know that my guy is sat here and he's peering through the corner of this. So what I am going to do is first just sort of take a guesstimate of the position, probably around here. Then I can go to my perspective cameras and you can see that he's pretty much in the correct place. So the next thing that we can do is sort out, so it's a little bit easier to see. So as much as it is great to sort of do modeling and stuff with, it's not so great for animation. So I'm just going to select my camera up here at the top left, go to my attribute editor, and go to my image plane shape, change my alpha gain to 1, and it should disappear. But then I'm going to change my depth to 1000. So now we can see everything. The problem is that this is kind of in the way now. So what I will do is go to my channel box editor, turn that off reference, select my geometry, hold right click, add new material, select Maya, and go use background. So now this is going to project the background on to the geo. So if you've never used that before, that basically means, so if I tear off a copy, use backgrounds, very useful. I used it a lot for the bubble ones. But that means now you can see it sort of cutting off things. So I'm going to go back to my layout, turn that back to a reference. So if I move him, you can see he's disappearing. It's almost like a cheap, nasty roto. It's called holdout, basically. So although there's nothing for my guy, but you can see that now it's sort of matting over the top. Don't have to worry about that because he's in front of it. But I will go to shading and just turn default material on for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pose this guy in the first frame because we're just effectively doing anim blocking. This could be classed as a layout as well. So it's definitely going to be more anim blocking, but also you will probably end up doing this in layout as well. Like I say, if you move into layout, you'll touch on a lot of things. Cool. So I'm just going to sort of pose this guy in my first frame. And so we've got our main control here. So you can see how we can bring this up with his body and not move his arms. We can probably shouldn't use that. but I can't see there being too much of an issue with it. It should be okay, but for now, I am just going to, because we don't see it, there is nothing wrong with cheating positions to get the look that you want. So I'm going to pull this guy up. And put him on his tiptoes. It'd be nice to see a little bit of his heel so it looks like he's tiptoeing up. And I'm not worried too much about any intersectioning or anything like that at the moment. I just want to sort of get him up. Tiptoeing. And I have just realised that I haven't put locks on my rotations, so be very, very careful on how you rotate these. That's my mistake. I should have locked them. Otherwise you'll have weird stuff going on. So I'm just going to bring this guy up. And a lot of this is just going to sort of try and... Because don't forget, we have, in our previous shot, he's kind of in the process of looking around. So we do have to make sure our continuity is at least pretty close. So I'm just going to go through and very right, like I say, this is anim blocking, so we're only worrying at the moment really one frame. That's our first frame. We're not keying anything. We just want to try and make sure that this is working for what we need. And we'll probably soon find out how awful my rig is. I have him resting his hand up here. And don't worry if there's any funky stuff going on with the rig at the moment. We will adjust that as we go along. The most important thing is it looks correct in shot. So let's get our elbow. Let's not bring it in too close just in case we lose it, and obviously I've not set this up as best as I could. Like I say, if I probably should spend a lot when you're doing your own rig, spend a lot more time on doing them. Get them working really well, because at the end of the day, the better the rig, the easier it makes for the animating. But we've made a. If you go through and do the rig count, I made it just enough so it's okay, I think. But yeah, it's important that we get our sort of positions looking nice. And also one thing you want to keep in mind is try not to have as much. Obviously, you have interaction with our guy. You're going to have to also do some roto anim, which I'm sure no one wants to really do. So I'm tactically placing things in positions where I may not have to do any extra sort of 2D work. So I am not the best animator, so this will probably actually take me quite a while to do. But at the moment we're just blocking it, making sure we've not got any sort of crazy stuff going on, try to make it look as natural as possible. And to be honest, we probably should have shot some animation reference for this as well. Thinking about it, because that is also an extremely important aspect of animation, is learning how to use how to create and use your own reference. But at this stage, we are just blocking. We're not fully animating. We're just trying to get it sort of looking nice. I really want to make sure that my first frame is looking quite nice and clean. Cool. So let's do these fingers over here. So, like I say, this is definitely down to a lot of your own interpretation on how you want to do this. And also, if you've made it this far, congratulations. That's been a long journey, but it'll be totally worth it. Yeah. Hope you guys have been enjoying this so far. I know it's been absolutely mega long, but I can tell you now there won't be any other tutorials like this at all that exist. You're basically, I know I say it a lot, but you are basically getting a university degree for free right now. Because this is the exact same stuff I teach. And let's put a little cheeky cock on, well, like sort of like cocked his hips. Cool. So let's like this is all subjective to how you feel. This might you might want to do it. And being creative with this sort of process is the most important thing. There's no at this present stage, if you're doing it yourself, there's no right or wrong. The most important thing is that you just enjoy yourself. Albeit, like if you do work really hard, obviously the benefits are going to be like getting work. Cool. So I'm just going to turn it off. Show. I'm just going to pull that over to the side. And what time we're on? 30 minutes. Shade it and default material and turn that off. Cool. There's what you're kind of. Let's hide our bones as well, our joints. Still call them bones from 3ds Max days, but so it's going to be that kind of close. So I'm quite happy with that first frame for now. And because he's quite close, I really want a quick, the way I see this, so you might see this completely different. My storyboards were awful. I don't have animatics and stuff like that. So most of this is kind of being driven from how I see stuff in my mind. Let's hide our IK handles as well. So the idea of this is he sees them and steps back to around about over here. Then he'll sort of settle. So if we go back to our edit ref, sees them. I think in this one, he's going to step back. And he's going to jump and sit down. He's going to be sat down at this point. Although this bit here is going to be, for me, this is going to be the hardest part for animating. I've already figured out if got a plan for this. I might actually match how my guy's walking and offset. So in this one, I'm going to look up. It's going to like sort of briskly step back. And in this one, he's going to step back and sort of mid jump down and sit back. So we've got to make sure our frame rate is right. Because I think actually our frame rate is. Let's make sure we got the right range so we're not actually doing too much. I think I may have got that backwards on my edit refs, but I can change that. Cool. So if we just play through this, it's quite a quick action. I know we're actually 30 minutes in, and I know it sounds bad, but we're actually finally getting started. So I will put chapters on this if you want to skip all the stuff before, but like I say, it's all really important stuff, I find. So these are not quick tutorials, but if you put the time in, they'll be worth it in the end, I think. Cool. So the first thing that we really want to do is we want to get the timing at least correct. So once your timing is sort of correct and looks nice, most of that is a lot of refinement and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to sneeze. Sorry, excuse me. Hay fever. So I want to so you might want to, sometimes it doesn't update, but if you make sure your playback speed is 24 and update view all is on. But sometimes it doesn't work. So I want quite a quick step back. And I'm just going to play through that and see how that looks. And all I'm doing is just figuring out the timing at the moment. Or maybe that might be too quick. So probably have let's just key everything there. Let's have him move back slightly and he'll turn. So that's probably a little bit too fast. Step back. Then hopefully what we want is him to end up about here. So let's play through. So let's copy that key there. So I want to delay this just a few seconds, a few frames, sorry. And you see how it's wobbling there? It's because we've got tangents on. So if we go to our Windows animation editors, and our graph editor, what we can see here is we've got these sort of tangents here. These will be, at the moment, we've only got translations on our X and Y. So I'm going to select all of these. And I can select the linear. So I'm just going to pull that over there. Just press play and you'll see what that sort of does. Makes everything obviously a linear timing. But what's also quite useful is selecting the step. So what this is now, it's going to make every key then have it stepped in time. So it's not going to move until it's been keyed. So sometimes that can be a bit nicer to figure out timings. I am going to, you can undo that. I'm just going to leave it on linear for now. So at this stage, this is going to be the sort of anim blocking. So imagine he's going to twist around at some point. So let's match up our keys on our other one. So I'm just going to press S there on that key. And you can see down here, I'm going to go to my frame 1017. Select my body control. And you can set it on a normal keys if you want. Like a lot of the time I'm just doing this. I just can't do this really quickly by eye, to be honest. So because there's no way to do this fast, unless you're like always animation, and I'm not always at animation. So I'm just going to show you the very basic blocking. I know we've been at half an hour. We've gone through other stuff that I've done. Cool. So at this stage, our first frame, we've set it. Then at frame time, I do want them to at least sort of twist around, come back and readjust. And we're only focusing on this control at the moment. And probably down. And I'm just going to key my feet. Go to the same one. And just gonna. We can still cheat it a certain amount, as long as it looks like there's some sort of movement in there. I know, like you're saying, I was not always physically touching the ground. You'll be surprised how much cheating goes on in VFX. It's unbelievable. As long as it looks right. Cool. So we're not even really going to worry about the arms for now. Well, we probably should, but we're just going to make sure we block it. We're going to key our hands. And you notice that I'm doing everything on the same key, just so it makes it easier for me to sort of know where I need to change things. So, see, we've got some very basic, like, this is not an animation course, this is just animation blocking. So, don't get too excited when you see anim blocking, but yeah. Cool, we're just going to do the same thing for this arm. Whoa, we picked the wrong control. I do keep forgetting, because in the tutorial I showed you 2 ways to set up different controls, but I chose not to finish that one off for some reason. It's probably my bad. I should have finished that. But it doesn't matter. However you've done yours is don't have to worry too much about hand context. And I've just lost that position, so I forgot to key it. I don't know why I keep this. 10, 12. It's not a hard number to forget, but seems to be quite challenging for my brain at the moment. And I've selected the wrong one. We'll just have him slide his hand down. Not even going to worry about the fingers at all. So you can sort of see we've got this very basic animation, which is amazing. So I definitely want him down. This can all change just from timings of the feet and stuff like that. You can see that I've got some bad rotations on my ankles because I did not need to make sure that it's down to my bad rigging. Probably lock those at some point so I don't keep messing around with it. Cool. And all I'm doing is just doing very, very rough poses. I don't even want him to, because I'm actually running out of space here. I just realised I haven't been adjusting how far he is away from the sides. Like I said, I'm not really an animator, so And we'll figure out what to do with these arms later. This is where animation reference becomes extremely useful, because then you figure out where you put sort of... You ever thought about what you do with your hands during the day? No. They all do all sorts of things that you don't really notice. Okay, so we've got... So see, we've got jump here because we changed our position. Just let me translate, and you can see that we've got this jump here, which is jumping up in our Y, which we don't want. So I'm just going to select these keys. I'm going to change my arrows here so I only move them up in the Y. So now if I've sort of, we can smooth this out if we want, but we're not worried about that at the moment. So he's jumping down lower, then he's going to stay at that height for now. So now if we do that, the height isn't changing, it's just our Z. And you can see that sort of jump here. So using your, see, jumps down, but this, because we keyed it before, we need to also sort those out. So, cool. So we've effectively done our first sort of very, very, very rough sort of keys and our blocking. So in this one, I don't really... Oh. Did I just undo that by accident? Yes. Let's put that back. Just put that over here. Cool. So the only thing I really want in this is some slight sort of movement. Just do some stuff for the hips, the chest, and what we'll do is straighten out the head, even though I have not keyed this at all, which is always a good reminder to make sure you key it. So you can sort of see what I'm trying to convey from the first shot. Probably didn't do it very well. So it's kind of just like snuck over and seeing what he's looking at. Then he's like, looks over. He's like, oh, hello. And he sort of comes down off his... That's possibly a little bit too far, how he's jumping. See how he's... But we can sort of figure that one out. Let's not worry too much. This is just blocking at the moment, so... See, we've got some really nasty stuff going on with our rig there, so we have to probably take a look at locking those off at some point. And luckily we can do that because we've referenced everything. And anything we change in our rig, we can effectively just update it. And it'll all be good. But it's more than likely because sort of fix that just by but we don't really see it for now, so we just not worry too much. I know that's not a very good attitude for it, but and let's have our dude jumps down and steps back. You know, it's probably even a little bit too far. So steps down. And I expect we'll have a step here, so a little bit higher. And it's really important to just play through this. I know we don't really see no. We are only anim blocking here, so this is not going to be like final animation or anything. So we're just trying to figure out the timing. Sort of see we've got a tangent. I know we shouldn't really be doing this, but I don't really like that tangent on the head right now, so I will. I will just fix that. So let's have a little play through of that. And that's super basic, but like when you're anim blocking, this is the most important part of all of this is getting something that's nice at the absolute most basic level and getting the timing correct. Because then after you've done this, that's what you're going to build on top to make it look much nicer. And picking out key things that kind of look a bit dodgy. I think he wobbles in and out. So yeah, there's kind of a... Let's find where that is. Cool. And we don't have to add in anything extra. We've the main thing that I want to try and say now, it's almost been an hour, is that we're getting our key movements in it. So we've got him looking around, albeit it might be a bit fast at the moment, but we'll do that afterwards. I know this kind of looks awful in this view. Let's we've got a so I think that's all right for now. Because we're just doing blocking. I know it's been an hour, and like, if you're at this stage, that's great. Let me know in the comments. It would be great to see how far you've got up to. I know it's a long project, but generally, like a lot of this stuff, it's like there's nothing that you can really like. It takes a while to build a reel, and to build a decent reel, it does take a lot of effort and time. So this is me just going through it off the cuff. I'm not planning any of this. It's just how I'm going through it. Obviously, it takes a little bit longer to talk through stuff, and in reality, I wouldn't even do the animation. I just send it to someone else to do. There's always a lot of other animators that love doing this. I'm awful at it, so I don't really enjoy it that much. But if I have to do it, I have to do it. But yeah, this is just anim blocking at the moment. So hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial. I know I've gone on a lot, and we didn't really get going until halfway through. I'll make sure I put a chapter in, just so you know that you can watch it from there. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. I know it's been very basic, but it's nice to finally get our finished character into shots, and finally getting near the end of the project. So thanks for watching. Don't forget that like and subscribe. It really does help. Drop a comment in the comment section. It's always nice to hear what you got to say. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.